When 9-year-old Jessi came home one morning in April of 1989, she found police working a crime scene. Her parents and her 2 sisters had all been murdered. Jessi's stepbrother, Jeff, was convicted of the killings years later. On this week's 48 Hours, Jessi talks about what it's been like to live in fear of her stepbrother, who might be released.
On April 30th, 1989, State Police Detective Mark Center responded to a grisly scene in Lakeville, Indiana.
No one should have seen what we saw that morning.
Bob Pelley, his wife Dawn, and Dawn's 2 young children were found murdered.
It did not look like a burglary. It did not look like a home invasion.
A surviving daughter, Jessica, only 9 years old, soon arrived home to the police activity. She had been away at a sleepover.
I had just lost everything. I pretty much became an orphan in a day. My name is Jessi. My hair is pink. I decided to change my hair. I also changed my name to Jessi. Jessica, I no longer wanted that name because she was a very sad, lonely, angry little girl.
Jessi wasn't the only surviving member of the family. Her step-siblings also were not home that weekend. Jeff Pelley, her stepbrother, was brought in for questioning.
So do you know who killed your mother and father? Or your father and...
No, I really don't. I don't know who would want to.
But investigators learned Jeff's father grounded him in the weeks leading up to the murders. And they say Jeff was crushed.
He could not go to the prom without his dad taking him. He couldn't go to dinner before the prom. He couldn't go to the after prom. I believe he killed his family and then was able to go to the prom.
But the case against Jeff was thin. Former St. Joseph County detective John Bowditch.
We didn't have any forensic evidence. We didn't find a murder weapon. No eyewitnesses. Very tough case to prove, very tough case to prosecute.
It would take 13 years before a new prosecutor thought there was enough evidence to make an arrest.
When I heard Jeff was arrested, I was scared that he was going to get out, come after me. When he's angry, he's not a nice person.
Jeff was ultimately convicted, but the case is far from over. Jeff's attorneys insist he is innocent and are making a new push for his release.
30 years later, there's still a legal process going on. It really is a form of slow torture, but I fully believe that he's not getting out.
Wow. So this has been dragging and dragging.
Yeah.
Where does the case stand now?
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
So the Indiana University McKinney wrongful conviction folks have decided to pursue this case. They've taken the case. They filed the petition for post-conviction relief. They filed the paperwork that will allow Jeff to continue to have a defense laid out for him. But so it's not over by any stretch.
What happened to Jessi after the murders, and what happened to her stepbrother? Who took care of them?
Well, Jessi, as you can tell, a lot of this story has to do with what she has done. I mean, there was family that stepped in, but she has spent the bulk of her life since then almost separating herself from the past. You saw the pink hair, right?
Yeah.
That's a very striking, obvious way to understand a woman who's trying to sort of separate herself from the past.
You don't want to be defined by this for the rest of your life.
But what you'll see on the 48 Hours that we're going to put on Saturday night, the broadcast basically spends a lot of time showing how she tried to separate herself, but there was a friend who had been looking for her for 20 years. So a lot of what she's doing now is sort of reintegrating what had happened with her present life. And it's a very compelling story.
Of course, because there's plenty of good she would have to leave behind that bad. It sounds like an incredible story. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily.
So you can watch 48 Hours, Live to Tell, Murder on Prom Night tomorrow night at 10 Eastern and 9 Central on CBS.